Right now, you probably have salt in your kitchen, in your fridge, on your table, in almost every single thing you eat. Salt is so common, so cheap, so everywhere that we barely think about it. You shake it on your food without a second thought. But there was a time when salt was worth more than gold, when wars were fought over it, when entire empires rose and fell because of it, when Roman soldiers were paid in salt. That is where the word salary comes from, paid in salt. So when did humans first start eating salt? And why are we so completely, biologically addicted to it? The answer starts millions of years before humans even existed. And the reason we crave salt is not because it tastes good. It is because without it, we die. Your body needs sodium to function, not wants. Needs. Every single nerve signal in your body requires sodium to fire. Your heart beating right now? Sodium, your brain processing these words. Sodium, your muscles moving. Sodium. Without sodium, your nervous system shuts down. Your heart stops. Your brain dies. But here is the problem. Your body cannot make sodium. It cannot produce it internally. The only way to get sodium is to eat it, from outside, from the environment, and for most of human evolutionary history, sodium was incredibly rare. Think about this. If you are an ancient human living on the African savanna eating fruit, vegetables, and occasionally meat, you are getting almost no sodium. Plants contain very little. Fruit contains almost none. Even raw meat contains relatively low amounts compared to what your body needs. So evolution did something remarkable. It made salt one of the most pleasurable tastes a human can experience. It wired our brains to feel genuine pleasure when we eat salt. Not just satisfaction, actual reward. The same brain circuits that fire when you feel love or win a prize fire when you eat something salty. This is not an accident. This is survival engineering. Evolution made salt taste like heaven because finding it was so rare and so critical that you needed maximum motivation to seek it out. Ancient humans did not have salt shakers. They did not have grocery stores. Increased sodium required effort, creativity, desperation, and sometimes following animals. Here is how it likely started. Ancient humans noticed that animals traveled enormous distances to find salt. Deer, elephants, monkeys, goats. They would walk for days to reach what are called salt licks, natural deposits of mineral salt on the surface of the earth, rocks covered in sodium, pools of salty water, mineral-rich mud. Animals would crowd around these places, fighting over access, traveling hundreds of miles, risking their lives, crossing dangerous terrain just to lick a rock. Ancient humans watched this. They followed the animals, and when they arrived at the salt lick, they did what they always did. They observed, they experimented, they tasted. And that first taste of pure mineral salt must have been extraordinary. Imagine you have eaten nothing but bland, unseasoned food your entire life. Plants, roots, berries, plain raw meat. Nothing has ever been salted. Your tongue has never experienced this particular combination of chemicals before. And then you lick a rock, and your brain explodes with pleasure. A flavor so intense, so satisfying, so fundamentally right that your entire body says yes. More now. Always. That is what salt did to early humans. It was not a seasoning to them. It was a drug. The most natural, most necessary drug evolution ever created. We do not know the exact date humans first deliberately consumed salt, but we can estimate. Animals have been using salt licks for millions of years. Early hominids who followed animal herds would have encountered these deposits hundreds of thousands of years ago, possibly earlier. The first deliberate salt processing we can confirm archaeologically dates to around 6,000 years before the Common Era. About 8,000 years ago, in what is now Romania, people boiled spring water to extract the salt. They heated salty water until the water evaporated and only white crystals remained. Around the same time, people in China were doing the same thing, boiling seawater, collecting the salt left behind. This was not cooking. This was chemistry. And it was some of the earliest evidence of humans deliberately manufacturing a substance from raw materials. But the real question is not when they started processing salt. It is what salt did to human civilization once they had it. Salt does something no other substance in the ancient world could do. It preserves food, meat rots in days, fish spoils in hours, fruit ferments and decays. But meat packed in salt lasts months, fish covered in salt lasts years, vegetables brined in salt water survive entire winters. Before salt preservation, humans were trapped by seasons. You could only eat what you could find today. You could not store food for winter. You could not carry food on long journeys. You could not survive drought or famine by stockpiling. Salt changed that equation completely. With salt, you could kill a mammoth in autumn and eat it all winter. You could catch 100 fish and store them for months. You could prepare for Nisasass. You could survive the unpredictable. This was not a minor convenience. This was the difference between life and death for entire groups. Tribes that controlled salt deposits thrived. They grew larger. They could feed more people. They could survive harsh conditions that wiped out others. And so salt became power. The earliest trade routes in human history were salt routes. Not gold, not spice. Salt. People would carry salt across continents. Caravans crossed the Sahara Desert, carrying blocks of salt worth more than their weight in gold. Literally. In parts of ancient Africa, salt was exchanged ounce for ounce with gold. Cities were built on salt. Salzburg in Austria means salt city. The word salad comes from salt. Sauce comes from salt. Soldier comes from salt. Salary comes from salt. Our entire language is soaked in salt. Rome built roads specifically to transport salt. The Via Salaria, the Salt Road, was one of the oldest roads in Italy. Roman soldiers were partially paid in salt or given money to buy salt, which is where the word salary originates. When someone says you are not worth your salt, they are using a phrase that is thousands of years old. It originally meant you were not worth the salt ration you were being paid. Entire wars were fought over salt. Civilizations that controlled salt mines controlled their neighbors. Salt taxes funded kingdoms. Salt monopolies built empires. Venice became one of the wealthiest cities in history largely through salt trade. And here is what makes this incredible. All of this, all of human history shaped by salt, all of it goes back to one simple biological fact. Our bodies cannot make sodium. We have to find it, and evolution made finding it feel like the most important thing in the world. Every road built to carry salt, every war fought to control it, every empire funded by it, every city named after it. All because millions of years ago, a primate on the African savanna desperately needed sodium, and its brain evolved to crave it more than almost anything else. Today we have the opposite problem. We eat too much salt. Modern processed food contains so much sodium that our ancient craving, the one that kept our ancestors alive, is now killing us. Heart disease, high blood pressure, stroke, all linked to the same salt that once saved human civilization. Our bodies are still running the old program. The program that says salt is rare, salt is precious, eat as much as you can whenever you find it because you might not find it again for weeks. But salt is not rare anymore. It is in everything. And our brains cannot tell the difference between ancient scarcity and modern abundance. We still crave it as if we are starving for it, even when we are drowning in it. The same evolutionary mechanism that saved us is now harming us. Because the world changed, but our brains did not. So the next time you mindlessly shake salt onto your dinner, remember that your body is celebrating. Deep in your brain, ancient circuits are firing with pleasure. Circuits that evolved on the African savanna when finding salt meant the difference between your heart beating and your heart stopping. You are not adding flavor. You are satisfying a craving that is millions of years old. A craving that built cities, funded empires, started wars, and shaped the modern world, all because one ancient ancestor licked a rock and could not stop. If you found this interesting, subscribe. I tell stories like this every week. Next time, we're exploring something even more surprising. When did ancient humans start to party? I will see you there.